I was like, hey man, what you do for a living? And he was like, I'm an architect. I was like, what's an architect? Yeah. He's like, well, basically I get paid to draw for a living. I was like, what? You mean I can get paid for something I get in trouble with at school every day?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Hello everyone, this is Andre Barad with the Yes to Real Estate podcast show on CC Network. Super excited to be here today. We have an amazing guest. But before we get started, let's give a couple of shout outs. So big shout out to my lovely wife, Joanne Barad. She's an interior, exterior designer and also our stager for Yes to Real Estate. And most of all, she's my better half. That's right. She owns half of the Yes to Real Estate company. It's nothing like giving away half, right? So also we have the lovely team, Boston Jenny, our marketing team. So when you see the Yes to Real Estate on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, it's the team. So marketing team, Boston Jenny, they do an amazing job with pushing the brand forward. So thank you guys. And then we have Michael, our analytics guy, right? He's the one who look at the numbers and say, hey, you need to do more videos on breaking down what is new construction, more videos on what is rehab. So he's the numbers guy, right? So thank you, Michael, for what you do. And then we have the amazing women of Diamond. She's our transaction coordinator. You talked to Diamond several times, right? Mm-hmm. She's our transaction coordinator and she's the GC of our new construction. That's right. She's doing an amazing thing. And there's nothing like coming into a company and working your way up. So Diamond, thank you so much for being a GC and our transaction coordinator. And then partnership. So we have Miss Ashley. She's one half of Rush Green Properties. And she also partnership with myself when it comes to new construction and rehab. So I call her the deal whisperer. She's able to find amazing deals and partnership with. So thank you so much to the team. And then I have my lovely son, Chase and Skylar Barad, my kids. Chase is 5, Skylar is 2. And let me tell you, it's nothing like pursuing something with purpose. And so every day I wake up, I have them in mind when pursuing a purpose. So thank you, Chase and Skylar, for your marketing genius and pushing the brand forward as well. So today we have a special guest, the one and only Garland Harris Jr.
The guest.
The great thing about Garland Harris Jr., he's an amazing friend. We do a lot of projects together. I am his personal agent for his development, and he refer me out to other jobs as well. So Garland Harris Jr., he is the owner of Middle Housing Design Co., one of the best architectural firms in the state of Texas. And today we have the pleasure of having him here today to discuss some of the things that he looked for when designing in a different area and his mindset of his architectural eyesight when he performed and come up with the renderings, the square footage of the home and things like that. So without further ado, the great one, Garland Harris Jr. Garland, welcome to the Yes to Real Estate podcast show. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Andre. All the wonderful things that he says, I say it's gas, but it is what it
Supreme.
is. Thank you for having me on, man.
Yes, Garland. So Garland, for the millions of people who's watching and listening, can you tell the people about yourself?
Yes. So keeping in order with Andre, I'd like to give a shout out to my woman Bree. Thank you for all of your support. I'm thankful for my partner Chris Ford.
Yes,
and,
shout out Chris.
Yeah, and my friends, my boy Deco, Don, Tyrone, Jared, Eddie, Issa, Sam, all my brothers.
Yes.
I wouldn't be where I am right now without all of their love and support. A little about me, I'm an architectural designer and a real estate developer. I started out I got interested in architecture when I was in like 7th grade. My dad, who runs a mobile detailing business, had a client who was an architect with an office in the Galleria. And I remember going up to his office and seeing like all these renderings on his wall. And I was like, hey man, what you do for a living? And he was like, I'm an architect. I was like, what's an architect? Yeah. He's like, well, basically I get paid to draw for a living. I was like, what? You mean I can get paid for something I get in trouble with at school every day?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So I got interested in development. Like the 11th grade, I got to watch the community telfair out in Sugar Land get developed. And so I saw it go from just a grassy field to, all of the houses and all of the stuff that they've built in that area.
Yeah.
And at first, studying architecture and development, I just wanted to make a lot of money and pull a lot of bad women, young, dumb, and foolish, man, But as I went to college at Prairie View, got my bachelor's in architecture and my master's in community development and played football up there, I did some studies about like poverty and homelessness in the city of Houston, learned a lot about a lot of our neighborhoods and saw an opportunity to use, development as a tool that we could come in to rebuild communities that have been neglected and forgotten.
Wow.
So it was a long journey to get here. Chris can attest to that.
Yes.
A lot of mistakes we made, a lot of failures, but, we have that mindset of, when we play football, look, we just gonna keep playing on the next play. If we get hurt, we go see the doc, get healed up, get back in the game, and, get to our goal.
Wow, that's amazing, Garland. So it sounds like you went through the process to get to where you are today.
Long process.
When you was at PV, was there any teacher or that really kind of helped and navigate your talent to kind of point you in the direction of where you should go, or anyone that you met?
Several professors actually, but first one that comes, I believe his name is Dr. Rodriguez. I'm bad with remembering names.
Yeah.
I was a sophomore. I was chasing this chick,
Yes.
and I was trying to,
Yeah. Yes, we have.
I was trying to pull her,
Yeah.
and
I was chasing Joanne for 15 years.
Okay, see, I wasn't that long with it. I was chasing a Betty, a yellow bone, you know what I'm saying? And I had turned in a project that I didn't put any effort into because I was, spending all my time focusing on trying to pull her.
Yeah.
And my professor told me in front of the whole class when I presented the project that my project was crap.
Oh.
And then he pulled me to the side after class and he said, out of all the students that I was going to have in this class, I looked at you as one of the few students in the program that had the natural ability to be great architectural professional. Right now, I'm very disappointed in what you have put out. And that just, I said, all right, I'm chasing the chick on hold. And I started putting my mind to, my projects, and I started putting together some of my best work from that point on. And I just got, hungry. I went to the library, got books, I was reading, man. When all my classmates was partying, I was working on my projects, even on the road trips, when we played football at Prairie View, we didn't have the big, beautiful stadium we had. So we pretty much played away games the whole season, so I would be on the bus, reading, man, learning, and just trying to develop my craft.
Awesome. So you would say that it was men in your life and women in your life as professor who kind of navigate and guide you to help you to get to where you are today?
Oh, for sure.
So you and I have been knowing each other for some years now, right? And then we work on some great projects together. I always tell people that you meet for a reason, right? And then in your season of growth, that you will meet the right people at the right time to bring their strength to help propel what you're doing. What caused you to want to work with the Yes Sir Real Estate team on what you're doing?
Me and Chris talk about his show marketing.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of real estate agents out there.
Yeah.
A lot of them, they treat this business like a hobby.
Yeah.
And they don't run it like an actual business.
Yeah.
As you know, I used to be a realtor.
Yeah.
Back in from 2016 to 2018. So I met a lot of realtors, and I know what high producing realtors look like, and then what just the average, my cousin is a realtor, let me give you their phone number, So we wanted to, we want to work with people who are passionate about what they do and are good at what they do.
Yes.
And that's the standard for us. And Andre's proven time and time again that he's good at what he does.
Yes. Yes. So you went to school, got your degree, and started working on your designs. You brought in an agent who understand marketing and understand your product to help sell it, right? To help get it out in front of people. I always get this question when talking with people who's coming up in the game who want to be an architect or a marketing or want to be an agent. How did you, once you got your degree, you brought me on as your agent, how did you come to play and realize where you was going to build your product and what product you was going to build?
So that goes back to the old adage of location. So when I was in college, some of my classes were real estate focused. So we learned about those things. And then when I went to real estate school, it was like a refresher on stuff I had already learned. But even before then, we studied neighborhoods, we studied markets, I think me, Chris Senegal, and Tyron were probably the only people who were at the time, like a decade ago, telling people that Fifth Ward was going to be what Fifth Ward is today. That's because we studied it. We looked at, like, okay, it's close to downtown. It's got a ton of vacant land, which most of the neighborhoods inside of the loop don't have a lot of vacant land anymore because they've been built up pretty much. And being able to understand like trends and what people want. We look at all of those things. Houston is a business city. It's trying to grow into an entertainment city. We have a lot of developments coming up. I mean, we have Memorial Park, which they just opened up, the new land bridge.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. We've got Discovery Green and several other major projects that the city is bringing. So those things are going to attract, different types of residents, but, in the early, over a decade ago, we understood that people came to this city to work. And there was a lot of jobs and there was a lot of money to be made, whether it was in the oil sector or the medical sector, which, the medical sector has continued to grow and blossom with the expansion of the medical center. So all of those things play a role in determining like what to build. We look at demographics, family sizes are getting smaller. So we understand those things. And all of those things play a role in determining like, okay, in this location, we could build townhouses because we know that this is what people want in this area. But in this area, we're going to build duplexes because they seem to be better in this area than they are in this area.
That's a good point. So you went to school, got the education, right? After getting the education, you start working on your team. You brought the Real Estate team on to be your preferred agent to list you and Chris properties. Number 3, you start doing the research on what to build and where to build it at, right? And you guys have done several projects already, right?
Yeah.
So you have done a duplex project where you put 2 duplexes on one lot.
Yep.
That was where? South Park?
South Park, yeah.
South Park. And then in Acres Home, you're doing the townhome community. So based on those 2 different projects, how do you determine what goes where?
Hi, I'm Stephen Thompson. And when I'm not DJing and giving people the vibes, I'm cultivating a community at Community Cultivation Network. We'd love to see you. We'd love to have you. We'd love for you to view our podcast. Not only are we the best, we're the best. And if you don't believe us, that's too bad. We love you. From here and everywhere else.
Now let's get back to cultivating community. Yes.
When we looked at the market in South Park, we saw that there were duplexes being built. And at the time, there weren't any townhouses being built in the area. And so when we were running our comps, we was like, okay, it's better to build a duplex in this area. And we saw actually some of Gilbert's projects.
Yes, shout out to Gilbert.
Yeah, shout out to Gilbert, where he was taking some of these oversized lots in South Park and he was replatting them in such a way that he could put a duplex in the front and a duplex in the back.
Yeah.
And so I saw like 3 or 4 of them that he had built, and I called Chris. I was like, man, we can do this. Yeah. And we found this lot, and I was like, oh yeah, it didn't have any restrictions on it. It was large enough, and we were like, okay, yeah, let's put one here and one there. And that's how that project came up. And there was a lot that went on because we kicked off that project just as the pandemic came into play. And so construction pricing shot up, timelines and permitting and replatting shot up because there was a boom going on.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of challenges to overcome. When we went over to the Highland Heights Acres home area, we saw that most of the comps were for townhouses. And we saw that there was a desire for people to live in that area because they want to say they live near Garden Oaks.
Yeah.
And as we know, Garden Oaks is a very expensive and pricey neighborhood, a bunch of multi-million-dollar homes. So being able to give someone a townhouse in that area, you know, was the right investment for that area.
Yeah.
So it just, again, it all goes back to what's going on in the market, what do the people want, and building what they want.
Yeah. But you guys are doing something amazing, like with your duplex project and your townhome project. It's just not just plain Jane property. You guys have a great elevation, right? The inside is amazing. The color scheme is amazing. What do you think about, because you have most people who are like, oh, this is the up and coming area, or this is the hood, let me just put anything out there. But you guys do not do that. Why?
Good design matters.
Say that again?
Good design matters.
Oh man, that's a gem.
Yeah.
That's a gem.
I've seen, you know, recently I've had clients who have opted to go with other professionals because, you know, the price might be cheaper or something like that. But I've always told them, like, you know, just because the price is cheaper doesn't mean the work is better. And one thing you don't want to skimp on is your architectural and your structural design. You know, I've had, you know, I can tell you about stories where we're arguing with engineers on stuff where we feel like they might be over engineering stuff, and they're like, well, these are the calculations. And I'm like, yeah, but it's hard for us to get this, you know, size of material. I got a project with one of my workshop attendees where he's building 2 townhouses in 5th Ward, and the engineer came in and put in a 20-inch floor system. And so I'm arguing with him. I'm like, man, we want to use, can we go down to a 16-inch? You know, it's a lot cheaper to get 16-inch floor trusses than 20-inch floor trusses. And he's like, no, our calculations are saying so. You know, being able to go back and forth and understand those things affect your costs. But when it comes to design, if you build a crappy project, then nobody else will want to come in and build around you, and then your values won't go up. And then now on top of that, you know, when we're not in a hot market anymore, we're trending into a normal market, buyers got options. So if you build something that's crappy and ugly, they're gonna pass by your project, and then you're gonna end up having to sell it for cheaper. So you're gonna have to do price decreases to get it down to a price where someone's like, all right, fine, I'll buy this ugly piece of crap. But if you build something that is nice, you know, it'll sell in any market. We could be in a buyer's market where there's a oversupply of houses, and you build something that looks good, it's in the right location, it's priced accurately, it'll go off the shelves, you know? And it's hard. I can't stress that enough to people, why I've seen projects that are just basic get built, you know? And it's like, you know, or I've seen floor plans that there's dead space in the plan, and it's like, they could have flipped the staircase so that space could be active, or they could have done something else here and made this, you know, they could have changed up this layout here. Understanding those things are important because, you know, especially when you get to higher price points, like you get to start trying to sell $1 million homes. I've been in, that was a home a friend took me to like 2 years ago where they couldn't sell it because the kitchen was designed terribly. Like the oven was right next to the pantry door. So when you open the pantry door, you couldn't open the oven. And I was like, see, things like this in a sub $400,000 price point, nobody will pay attention to. But in a 400 plus, they pay attention to those things. So your design has to be on point because they know these things now. Most of those people in those markets, they've already bought a home before. They know what good design looks like.
You know, that's a great thing about working with you, is that with you being an architect and a developer, is that you're able to see on both ends. You're able to see the design part of it, and then you're able to see the layout. I remember when you came to the development I'm doing, right? And you was like, hey, Dre, you know, I don't understand why you have a back porch. It's only 2 feet long, wide, and 12 feet long. It just wasted space. He said, you need to change that. Right? Just like that. I said, man, I said, what should we do? He said, man, just push it out. Just take it out. And I did exactly that. Took it out, And now we have more livable square footage, which means we was able to get more money for it, and it gave the home a better layout. Having you, look here, all architects are not created equal, right? All developers are not created equal. Having someone who actually do it, walk the property, and who's able to break down what you need to do is vital. He saved us a headache and allow us to make more money. So now anything that we built, Garland is our architect for everything that we built, and we have established that as well. So thank you for that. So Garland, you brought up the COVID, right? Mm-hmm. What changed in the post-pandemic?
Timelines. I have clients who just think that they treat this like a flip, and they think that they're going to be in and out in 8 months. I'm like, please, you're going to spend 4 months in permitting.
So 4 months in permitting?
Yeah, like right now, the average review cycle. So a review cycle is how long it takes the city to even look at your plans. Yeah. It's like 40 to 45 days. And they usually always kick back the plans, you know, just because.
All the time.
Yeah, they just kick them back because, and sometimes they'll make up comments like, oh, there's no trees on the site. And we'll be like, the trees are called out on the site. And then they'll usually come back sometimes and approve it on the second round. But if you got to go through 2 rounds, if it's taking 40 to 45 days, that's 80 to 90 days. That's 3 months. Yeah. Just right there. And, you know, don't be doing something that they don't understand that you have to now got to go in and try to explain to them. Like when we started building our stacked duplexes, they didn't understand what we were doing because we basically had took a townhouse and cut and basically made the first floor a unit and then the second floor a unit because we were like, when we build these townhouses, we already providing 4 parking spaces because we got 2 in the garage and then we got 2 in the driveway. So we might as well make it a duplex because we need 4 parking spaces for a duplex anyway. And if we get more units, we get more value out of the project. So the first couple of ones that we had going through, it took a little longer to get through permitting because the city was like, where's the duplex? And we're like, it's right in front of you. It's a stacked one. We just put a garage on it. So, you know, timelines, you know, there's replatting, you know, that takes time, you know, getting through, you know, getting the city to approve your project. You know, they always want to defer your submittal, and you know, if you got the right replat people, they'll go in there and they'll fight with them, be like, nah, we need this approved now so that we can get the process started. And then, you know, even during construction, there's delays. Centerpoint is notoriously slow. Yeah. So we try to make sure that we contact them as early as possible to get, you know, gas lines and electrical lines put in. Sometimes you have to wait on the city for a street cut permit. Sometimes, you know, material is delayed, bricks, windows were bad about a year ago, but now they've been getting much better in their delivery times.
That's good.
So, you know, it's something that at the end of the day, this isn't a quick process, but it's worth it, you know, and there are so many things that are beyond our control, you know. It's just, it is what it is, you know?
So okay, if a person is building the flood zone area, which, you know, my projects are, would you be my architect, how long is that process if it's in a flood zone area?
I mean, you could probably spend in the pre-development phase up to 12 months before you can get to start construction.
Yeah, that's what we at.
If you're doing a replat, you got to have a conceptual drainage plan. Now you got to go engage a civil engineer. You got to go get all that approved. Then once you go and get that approved, and you got to go get your replat submitted and things like that. So now you got to engage a civil engineer. You know, that whole process from design and all of that process can still take you 90 to 120 days, and you can do that while you're doing your replat. You know, I see a lot of guys, they'll go do their replat first and then they'll come do their design, and I'll be like, just come do it all at once, you know? So then when the replat's done, you can save yourself 3 months by being able to, you know, go ahead and submit your project at the same time. But, you know, going through the storm department, it take longer to go through them, man. They got all their little regulations. They're trying to basically push the buck on developers to keep the city from not flooding, and we're all like, that's your job. Like, it's my job to build houses, not build detention ponds and all this stuff. So we've argued with them about that process too. Sucks.
So Garland, man, it's been amazing to have you here today. Very knowledgeable. I mean, you're my guy. Everything that I build, I go through you. You make it so easy, right? You make it easy. You have the team in place that you can refer me to. So thank you so much for what you do. So for the millions of people who's watching, can you tell us what things you have coming up? You know, just to let you know, I have been to all of your classes, VIP, and I have learned so much about that, especially the density calculator. That rings in my head every single time. So can you tell the millions of people what you have coming up?
So the workshop that Andre's talking about, not doing a live version of that anymore. It's up, available for on demand, so you can now purchase it and you'll get access to the footage from both classes. So it's like over 10 hours of information on development.
Yes.
You get all the course materials and you get access to the private Facebook group for all of the alumni from the course.
Yes, I'm one of them.
Yep. And then my next round of courses will be on how to read plans. I got a lot of clients who, they believe they're saving money by running their own projects, but they don't know anything about construction. They don't even know how to read a set of plans. So I'll come out on the site and I'll be like, oh yeah, man, so this was built wrong. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, man, this roof cut was supposed to be a rake cut and they did a box soffit. And they're like, oh, what's a rake cut? And I'm like, okay, see. So, you know, being able to teach them how to read, you know, plans, I think could better help them be able to run their own projects.
Yeah.
My recommendation, if you're gonna be a developer, be a developer. Don't just hire a GC. It's a lot easier if you don't already have construction experience. I mean, me and Chris, we have construction experience, but it's a lot easier for us to hire a GC and let them run the project so we don't have to be on the site all the time. We just come out there once or twice a week, take some pictures, and boom, it's good to go.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it gives us the flexibility to go out and run multiple projects concurrently. Yeah. So if we want to start one project over here and then we want to go build another project over here, we could just hire a different GC to run that project, and then we tell them exactly how we want the stuff built, you know, in our plans and our specifications. You know, that's how all the big builders do it. Yeah. You know, they hire GCs, and those guys are going out and they give them a group of projects. All right, you got 5 homes here, you got 5 homes there, you got 5 homes over here. You build these 5, and then we go from there. And that's how they're able to build, you know, like, you know, 300 homes in a year and stuff like that. But if you're GCing, you know, the projects yourself, there's no way you can go out and build 300 homes in a year. Yeah. You can't be on, you know, even if that's, you know, 300 homes is probably what, like 25 job sites. Imagine trying to go to 25 job sites in 1 week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, you know, and you gotta pay all the people. You gotta, you know, you got to be on site making sure they do the work right. I mean, I have a lot of clients who they think, oh, I just hand the trades the plan and they just build it, you know, but you have to give them direction because they're going to build it the way they think is the easiest. And it may not be what we drew on the plan. I had our project, our duplex project, where our brick, our siding contractors, brick and siding contractors, they wanted to brick the whole front of the house all the way up to the 2nd floor. But our plans were only for it to go up 13.5 feet. And so we had to get them to change it. And I had to explain to them like, yo, this is no different than an actual wainscot that we would put on the 1st floor that would only go up 3.5 feet. Yeah. You know, all we're doing is we're just running it up to the 2nd floor. We want it that way because we're going for a certain look. Yeah. So how to read plans is the next round of courses because I want to be able to help those guys who are insistent on running their own projects but have no experience. No experience.
How can the millions of people reach you?
So there's my website, middlehousingdesign.com. There's my Instagram, neighborhood developer.
Yes.
I have a Twitter. I don't know. I still don't understand Twitter. It's kind of hard for me to keep up with all of these social media platforms, and of course on LinkedIn too. Yeah. So that's pretty much the Instagram, LinkedIn, and my website are pretty much the channels that I use the most.
Awesome. Well, Garland Harris Jr., thank you so much.
The full name
for being here today. So I want to challenge the millions of people who's watching now. Yes, that's you. You have everything you need in order to win. The team. If you're going to go to the next level and elevate, like I know you can, surround yourself with the team. Garland talked about hiring me on, working with Chris. The team is what's going to elevate you to the next level. And it's time for you, yes, you, to get your team together. Thank you for saying yes to architectural design. Thank you for saying yes to uplifting the neighborhood. Thank you for saying yes to Gresham and Garland. Thank you for saying yes to real estate. See you at the top. Hello, everyone. This is Andre Barra with the Yes to Real Estate podcast. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like, and check out our other episodes right here on the Community Cultivator Network and the Yes to Real Estate podcast. See you at the top.